All right, so this video is about the I Am poem, which is the culmination of the scrapbook. The whole thing is a culmination, project. It's got a lot of the skills that we've already been working on. But this poem is the culmination of all the work you've done up until this point. And so I think both Miss Whitworth and I suggested I would do not do this poem before you get everything else done. This should be the final last thing because it should include a lot of what you've done before.
Right. And because it is a little bit more of the creative aspect, you can start it by, maybe going through a couple of the brainstorm activities or watching a couple of the videos, but you shouldn't you shouldn't think about finishing it until everything else is done, because you're going to add things to it that are really important and that can add that little special twist.
And so what we want you to do is go through the writing process. And I'm sure in every language arts class, you've done the writing process. You brainstorm, aka you're planning, you do some writing, you revise it, you have a first rough draft, you get some feedback from somebody, you revise it for that final draft. You're essentially doing that by completing that. So the very first thing that you're doing is you're going to brainstorm. Then you're going to write your rough draft. Then you're going to make sure that you get somebody, a friend, a family, someone to give you some feedback. Remember your sensory details. If you remember our example, when we rolled this out, that's what makes this I Am poem strong. And then like down here, you have your final draft. You can add poem, you can add stickers, you can add fonts, pictures, whatever. We're suggesting that you use the I Am framework or style. But if you're that creative person that wants to go in a different direction, we do have some minimum things that you got to make sure you get in there. If you want to talk about that.
So your poem needs to be a minimum of 15 lines. And a lot of people, and I have those people who want to nickel and dime everything. Like, how many do I have to do? How many words in that 15 lines? So I know that poem can have a little bit of free verse to it and have a little poetic license. If you give me 2 words on a line, I'm going to grade you like you just put 2 words on a line. So we're talking about 15 lines of poetry. And then we need at least 3 pieces of figurative language and 3 specific details, because those sensory details that's what makes that emotion come up.
And so when you look at these first 2 brainstorming, you're going to notice they've got different things on them. The second brainstorming sheet, those are for your people who just are good with a blank page and let me get on my ideas. Okay, so that's one way to approach the brainstorm. But this first one is more structured and it will help you write a very strong I Am poem, because what we did is we looked at what you should have hopefully done throughout this project and what other I Am poems, what they have in them, and we gave you some guidance here. So if you want to talk about some of that guidance.
So what you can do, see the first column, it says names of people who were and important to you. So like in my life, my granny is really important to me. My Aunt Lola is very important to me. And so when I'm thinking of my granny and my Aunt Lola, then when I answer the next question, special foods or meals, my granny can make the best biscuits I've ever had in my life. And I am missing my granny's biscuits. So I could put a whole bunch of foods in here, but because now my mind is already on my granny and my Aunt Lola, I'm thinking biscuits and gravy. I'm thinking fried green tomatoes. And then it says games and activities that I used to play. So I think back to my childhood and, get my knees scraped up, climbing trees, things that I used to do. What was I doing at that time? Those things that bring up those memories. So you want to say like phrases that were often repeated in your family. Oh my gosh. Like my mama would always say, you better get outside before I hit you with my fist. And she would always say it in her Southern accent. And so these are things that you're going to, it's just memory lane for you. And what you can do, remember what we've talked about, is a lot of these I Am things are not things that you can hold in your hand. These are things that they're ideas, they're abstract concepts. So I might be from a place where my mama is going to scream out the holler. I might be from the smell of biscuits cooking in the oven. And these are places that I'm from. They help make me me. And so I can take any one of these in this table, one of my answers, and just put it on the lines that are provided. Like I am from biscuits and gravy. I am from fried green tomatoes. and from scraped knees on a tree. I am from, and I just take this line. And as I go through this, I'm looking at it going, that scraped knee thing, I don't really like that. Let me, get rid of that and use something from a different box. This is more structured brainstorm, but you still have that freedom.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, that's my dog. But, notice this, repeat the pattern 4 to 5 times. So what you could do is you could fill this out, which I think would be excellent for every single person to do because it does get your mind going. And you could copy this structure down here, and you could put it over here on the brainstorm so that you can copy it 4 to 5 times so that, okay, now I have a full poem. And then speaking of all of those things, every single one of these stickers has a link. This is like what we would do in class. We would take you through this and we would probably give a mini lesson on imagery and give a mini lesson. We would show you an example, right, from the inspiration here, another example. And we would show you another example that having to do with the city or a video example. We would probably give a mini lesson on figurative language and adding emotions. So these stickers are mini lessons. This is teaching you how to get that out there. So most definitely I would go through some of those to help yourself.
Right. Some of them are just poems that can inspire you of, ooh, you never thought about writing it like this. But some of them, like the figurative language and the sensory details and the emotions, those are little mini lessons to say, okay, what is this? Remind me what this is and how can I use this in my poetry? Because whereas your poem is authentically you, a poem still is supposed to elicit emotion. And so if we can read your poem and we're like, meh, cool, then you didn't succeed. You didn't do what we need you to do, which is we need to be able to read your poem and we need to be able to smell those biscuits. We need to know who you are as a person, feel emotionally connected to you by the words that you choose. And so that's what we're looking for.
So what you should start seeing is that language is very, very important. That's what gets the emotion when we talk about writing. Once you have your brainstorm done, you'll go to the rough draft and you'll write the rough draft. And in fact, you can take that structure, right? You can copy that little structure, put it on your rough draft, and tweak it to get to be like, okay, this is what I think I want. And now we're in present mode right now. And once you get the rough draft done, you're going to have somebody edit it, AKA give you feedback. So have somebody read it and ask them specifically, does this inspire emotion for you? Where could I add better sensory details? And have them give you some information and then note what you're going to change for the final draft.
Absolutely. And most of you guys are already in a composition class. This would be something great for you guys to talk about in your composition class with one of your peers from that class, because I know that you guys are talking about edits. I know that you're talking about rough drafts, and you guys have already worked on an outline. And maybe this could be one of your practice peer edits. Just say, hey, I finished my poem. Could you take a look at it for me?
Yep. And then ultimately, once you've got that, you have your final poem. So what we're saying here is your rough draft, there should be some changes in your final poem. Absolutely. If all you do is copy what you wrote here and you paste it on the final poem, but you make no changes, then you didn't go through the writing process. And we need you to go through the writing process. And so that, for me, would probably take some points off because you didn't try to make it better. And writing can always be made better. I don't care if you're the greatest writer in the world, even the greatest writer in the world will tell you they write a draft and they toss it out and change it.
Absolutely. Hemingway has a famous quote about his first draft and what he says everyone's first draft is, but I'm not allowed to say that. You should look it up though. It's pretty interesting.
It's bad. First drafts are always bad. They're never the greatest ever. But that is it. And so once you get that done, you should have your whole project done and ready to submit by October 11th.
11:59. It is 120 points. I did not stutter. 120 points. Also, what makes this even more important than 120 points is it's an evidence of learning.
Which means it's 45% of your grade. And honors, yours is 140 points. So yes, it has the capability to either really help your grade or really not help your grade if you don't do it. Okay. So don't wait till the last minute. You're going to have all this next week. I think in both of our classes, it's going to be work time. We might like show you something if you're like, oh, I'm struggling on this, and we might show you something in the whole class. But in our Zooms, it's complete work time because we know you need that time. Are you going to have to work on it a little bit outside of that? Yes, but you're going to get the full hour in both of our Zooms to work on it.
Right. And this is a fun project. So please, please, please use it as a fun project. Learn about yourself, learn about your past, learn about your community, about your family. And then don't get so caught up on, oh, this one point or this one point. Just explore, research, learn. That's what we're looking for.
We're looking at most definitely. And we're improving our research skills so that when we go to something that is an argumentative essay that you will eventually have to do soon, that you already have some research skills behind you. And you can call that up from 9th grade and from this. And, you know, when we do move to that argumentative essay that you will eventually have to do, especially when you are writing timed essays, you'll know how to, right? You'll know how to cite things because we have been working on that citation standard for a while. So this is a fun way to approach it because really we need you to know how to do a works cited page, know how to do MLA and text citation. Not that you have memorized it, but like, you know how to do it.
Right. It's almost like, I don't know, we might have planned this.
Because timed essays are fun. Are you guys excited about the word timed essays?
Yay!
Okay, that's it. Bye.